Joy Taylor in for Colin Cowherd on the herd. Let's bring in our friend Mark Sanchez, Fox Sports NFL analyst, played 10 NFL seasons.
Yeah.
USC legends.
Talk to me, ladies. What do we got?
Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez was a part of my favorite year of my brother's career.
Awesome.
I can't speak for my brother and say that.
2010?
But it was mine. Yes.
He's the
it was a great year.
Did I tell you the story about him doing
About the
garage
shoes?
sales? Yeah.
You've told me the story, but you can tell the audience.
Share it. Come on.
He had the Jordan
My brother's
deal.
Jason Taylor, by the way, if you don't know.
Yeah. Let's make sure we're clear here.
I mean, it's the only reason I have this job, but I should always remind people.
One of the coolest dudes I've ever met was, you're like not terrified of guys like that, but you're just like, damn, dude, that's like freaking Jason Taylor.
Is he intimidating?
Man. Well, I mean, because you see his size and stature, and then I've watched him play for so long, and then he's like in the locker room with you. And so you got to like keep it cool, but try not to get all starstruck. But he had this Jordan deal, and we have the same size foot, believe it or not. And I was fired up because he's like got boxes stacked as tall as he is. And he would just say like, garage sale, who's a 14 or 13 and a half,
Oh.
And like you could go pick out shoes. And I was like, is this guy serious? This is the coolest dude I've ever met. And so we get free Jordan turfs and like all the gear. Like he was the coolest guy ever.
Yeah.
He was great. And so under the center, nobody's under center anymore, but way back in the day, you put your hands under the center's rear. And I had a tick when I would snap the ball. And I would kind of flinch right before I was going to snap it. And he was so low to the ground in his stance at defensive end, he could see it. And so he's getting off on the snap count in training camp.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, what is your deal? Like, is this just a veteran deal? He's like, I got to tell on you. I'm not going to tell you until after training camp. I was like, what? So he wanted to keep using
I'm on this team.
to his advantage. And then after training camp, he told me. So sometimes I would flinch on purpose just to throw it off during the season. So
yeah, that's
got
a
a couple
Famer.
free 5-yard, offsides from that. So
you got to take
shoes,
advantage of it.
3 yards. JT's the man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you had another story that you were telling us in the break before you came on. Alex did this story earlier today.
Yeah.
I mean,
I listened on the way up. That's why I
to be
heard
honest,
it.
I haven't gotten very involved in this Eli Apple, Mac Jones beef. My suggestion, and I wonder if you agree with me, for Mac, is that it's probably not the best idea to lean into the villain role as the quarterback, the quarterback position. You might just get dunked on by someone like Chandler Jones. There are opportunities for bigger guys on the field to remind you that they don't appreciate a dirty player. I don't know if Mac's a dirty player or not, but you have a story very similar to this, and I believe we have the footage of this.
Oh, no. Okay, we got to roll the clip.
We have the receipts, as the kiddies say.
So, week 4, we're 3-0. Go to the Superdome in my rookie year. That's 2009. Pick 6 to Sharper right there. And here comes old Sanchez.
You did the same thing.
Okay, but however.
To who?
To Jonathan Vilma, who became my first partner when I took a job at ABC.
Right, and long before he was your partner on television, he was Jonathan Vilma.
Oh, yeah, from the U. I mean, baller. I called him on the way up, and he goes, "You're a dirty player." I said, "Stop it." And so he was obviously joking. What you're taught when you throw an interception, immediately head on a swivel because somebody's going to come take your head off.
Of course.
Right? The D linemen circle back. Now they've kind of taken that out of the game to protect the quarterbacks. But you're taught head on a swivel and then basically take out your protractor, figure out how fast you are and how fast he's running, and go try and cut him off. And cause a pile. Just create a pile. If nobody's around you, get low. Don't get hit.
Mark,
don't get thrown out of the club.
How far did you think you were going to catapult Vilma into the other direction to knock down
The idea is to
Sharper?
just cause a pile, okay? It's like all a blur at that point, all right? You're running for your life. You're trying not to get thrown in the 5th row by a
don't have
linebacker who outweighs you by 40 pounds.
I don't have a physics degree, but like you're going, doesn't look like he's going to spin the other way.
It wasn't as bad as Mac. Agreed?
Oh, so Mac is worse.
Well, his was behind the play. At least mine was in front of the ball carrier.
Let's run this back one more time.
Whoa.
Hold on. We
You
need
were a little
we need the
behind.
footage.
You were closer.
His guy's walking in the end zone. And it was so funny. I talked to Vilma on the way up in the car on the freeway today. And he goes, I honestly wasn't going to try and hit you. I was just trying to join the motorcade celebration with Sharper and like go dance in the end zone.
Right.
He's like, but then you
Okay,
cut
we're
me,
gonna
and I was
watch this
pissed.
one more time. I need to check this.
It's not that bad.
We need to
How
check
far
tape
behind?
here.
How far behind?
I'm in front of him. Look at
Okay,
those
you
wheels.
are where?
7 yards.
Okay,
3
so
yards.
you are in front.
You are in front.
3 yards.
Yeah.
No, Mac was behind. You're right.
See?
Yeah, it was accurate. We have
It's
the
not even
tape. We just
close.
watched. It's still kind of a dirty play.
Easy. I got fined, by the way.
Well, then
So
they
it was a
agree.
dirty play. I don't know.
You know what?
I don't
Okay,
mind.
so
I don't mind dirty
do
players.
you think that
I
Mac
don't
Jones
mind
is
it.
a dirty player?
No, I don't think he's a dirty player. You know what I think he did? I think he just kind of like,
Panicked.
it's like, yeah, you kind of panic and you don't want to get taken out. And you probably didn't realize it was Eli Apple. You might have thought it was like a bigger guy. So you just kind of get low. It looks worse. It looks worse because you're so far behind it. You know?
Would you say this, though? There's understandably a little bit of animosity towards the way that quarterbacks are treated and protected.
Well, that's adds to it, right?
Right.
Like you're protected and you're going to pull this on us.
Right. You
know?
can't go low on
Yeah.
quarterbacks. You can't hit
Right.
them. If you hit them and you somehow can't levitate, which is not a skill that most humans possess, you get a fine or a flag for falling on them. You can't touch them.
Correct. So yes, that's what makes it worse for quarterbacks and for Mac in this situation. And then kind of the way you handled it, like just my bad. I
So
shouldn't
that's
have done
what
that.
I
you know?
said. I was like, why? If you're going to do this and you panicked and it's probably not the best decision, or maybe it was a little dirty, or at the very least risky,
Yeah.
you know, why don't you just come out and say that?
Yeah, just hey, I blew it. I should have stayed up, and I didn't try to hurt him. I know that for a fact. Same thing with Vilma. Like I wasn't trying to hurt him.
Right.
It's the last
Well,
thing.
because
I
obviously it's Jonathan Vilma. And
dude, dude would have thrown me out of the
If
club.
he wanted to, it would have gone the other way. Respectfully, of course, Mark. I know
Thanks,
you-
Joy.
yes. That's what I thought would happen. Speaking of accountability, I talked about Russell Wilson earlier in the show. Obviously, it's been a disaster in Denver, and I think that we are all going to take a deep breath about it for the moment, because it's over now. Nathaniel Hackett is gone, and their season's over. So there's nothing redeemable that can happen,
Sure.
outside of 2 perfect performances to end the season for Russ. I don't know that I have any confidence that Russ can turn it around, not because I haven't seen him be great, but now there's a real consistent drumbeat that Russ sort of lacks the awareness of the locker room.
Sure.
And the energy towards him in the locker room. We just talked about how quarterbacks are treated, and there's already kind of that, but it's understood, right? And when you're winning, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
No one cares. But when you're losing,
Yeah.
everything matters. And it's starting to feel like I can't keep ignoring the constant stories
Right.
about how Russ just is a celebrity who doesn't have this connection with his teammates. I think at the quarterback position, that's very important.
Yeah, I've heard some of those stories, the things that kind of came out of Seattle, and you hear the people in Seattle talk now, and it's almost like they've gotten a breath of fresh air. Like, whew, okay, we can just stick to football now. I don't know the guy like personally, so I can't
neither
say.
do I.
But when you hear that many accounts of like, yeah, and he did this, and oh, this is kind of strange, and it's a little weird. I don't know what you do with that though. I don't know how you move forward with that. If that's your persona, if that's your personality, if that's who you are.
But Mark, you were a celebrity. You are a celebrity, but I'm saying like when you were playing, you were a big deal.
Yeah, but
you had the covers. You were singing.
I'm trying to think of
in
like,
clubs.
Like you're always with Lance Bass.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big deal during that time.
So I
And
don't
you
know
were
how you
young.
describe it. My dad always told me, like, when people walk in the room, you want them to know that you're the quarterback, but you're also one of the guys.
Right.
Like, you're not above them, but you do have some sort of title. You know what I mean? Like, you're the leader, and people will follow you, whatever. But you're one of the guys. And so, case in point, like, the quarterback in New York, I'd always get tickets to Broadway shows. I'd always get tickets to the new movie premiere, to whatever. Whatever I got was contingent on bringing players from the team and their wives, generally. And it was always like, okay, we have 2 tickets for you. I was like, I need like 9 because the boys are coming or I can't go. And they're like, well, we'd rather have you there, so we'll figure it out.
Right.
And boom, and guys would go. And that's just kind of what we did. But I don't know. I've never been around a player like that was like, I guess I can't say never. I'm not going to mention any names, but guys who are like above it or bigger than.
But I mean, at the quarterback position, though, I think it's important. Like you can get into
so important.
We've obviously like a diva wide receiver or a lockdown corner,
Sure.
but whatever. Like at the quarterback position,
it's different.
And I think
there's only one.
Yeah. And you get all the praise.
Yep.
You get all the ads. You get all of that. But I think, a continuous story about Brady that we always got is that it's Tom Brady, but he's going to walk up to the rookie and introduce himself.
Say, hey,
like,
I'm
he's
Tom Brady. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, of like, oh, it's Brady.
Right.
Like, oh, it's Jason Taylor. I'm going to give you some shoes.
When you're never bigger than it. When you're
Correct.
never bigger than what you have going on. When the shared struggle is really shared because you're trying to win.
Right. And I think that it's starting to feel like I'm hearing too many stories from too many places. To your point, the fact that Seattle's like, we can get back to football now.
Yeah.
That there's not something to it. And when you're, in the trenches with someone and you're losing, at the very least, you're like, hey, we're losing. Devontae Adams, we're losing. But this is still my guy. Right. And I'm gonna respect that.
No, so, I mean, you saw the way he came out and talked about Carr.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.